Hola familia. If your teen is ready to start reading in Spanish, let's talk about my favorite resources that you can use to get started with your reading. So in class, we are doing some reading, but it's a short amount of time because we focus on the skills that require more in the moment support, like listening, speaking, and writing, where I can give feedback and we can take it one step at a time. With reading, we have seen some tricks that we can use to be successful when reading, and I'll make a different video about that. But those would be super helpful with any of these independent reading tasks that I'm about to share. So my favorite resources for reading are the news, books, and then apps. And I will share a few options for each of these. So for the news, there's two resources that I like for reading the news. The first is BBC Mundo. So from BBC, they have a Spanish news publication and they share the news in Spanish for people who speak Spanish. So this is a great opportunity to be caught up on world events, to get a different perspective, and to practice reading about those en español. The second option that I like is News ELA, and let me show you why. So News ELA is free, which is something that I love about it because I can get free access to these resources without having to pay for it because who needs another subscription? And then I can easily come up to my content library and search en español. And this is not something that I've set my settings to do. I just come in here and I use content en español. And then what we can do here is choose any article. This one is particularly relevant right now. And then once we are in the article, we can adjust the text level. So what I love most about this website is that I can adjust my language here, and then I can also adjust the level. So if I want to think about what level am I able to read at, if I want to start with the lower level where it's going to be much more easy to understand, a lot more familiar vocab, I would choose that first level. And then if I'm ready to take it up a notch, I might advance the level. So the nice thing about this site is that we're reading the same news story, but with different vocabulary and different skills. So we're reading the same news story, just at a slightly higher level with more complex vocabulary, more complex structures. But I love this website because it's super easy to find something that you're interested in and then just adjust the level based on what you need. The next resource we're going to talk about is books, and there's two types of books I want to talk about. I want to tell you about graphic novels. So if you have a particular interest, you might choose a graphic novel related to that interest. Like I had a student 2 years ago who was really interested in the Spanish Civil War. So we read this graphic novel, which is the equivalent of a textbook written by the same author about the Spanish Civil War. So you can find graphic novels related to what you're interested in, or you can pull up graphic novels that are meant for learners. So one resource for that is Senor Woolley. Senor Woolley is a Chicago area-based Spanish teacher who has developed like funny stories. And originally he made them for his classes, and then he grew it for YouTube, and now he has a whole learning empire. You can buy his graphic novels on his website. The other resource that you have for novels for reading is that there are loads of books out there written for learners, and they're usually called readers, like books that are written for students are called readers, and there are a lot of them out there. I have one that I can recommend down below in the comments. I haven't taught a reader in a good long while, so I'm not familiar on which ones are most popular now, but the one that I'll leave down below in the comments was recommended by a colleague of mine, and she uses these readers all the time. Okay. And then we have two apps that we're going to use. We are all connected to our phones. We are glued to our phones. We are constantly checking things on our phones, and so are our kids. So we want to give them the opportunity to practice on their phones. So the first app that I'm going to recommend is called Lectia. It has authentic real-world text in multiple languages. It adjusts to the learner's level, and so you can start with the beginner level and then grow up to the intermediate level when you're ready to do that. The other app I'm going to recommend is called Garbanzo. I'm not sure it's available for homeschoolers, but if you reach out to them, they might give you a membership. I have only used it with students who were like at home, but are based in a school program and their school was paying for it. It's just like Duolingo, but for reading. It's super repetitive, but it's very good practice. Okay, bueno. I hope that this helps. Let me know if your child is ready to start reading down in the comments below. And if you have any other resources, I would love to hear about those too. Ciao, familia.